speaking of lines, so then now we're talking offensive lines. And then this picture, I grabbed this picture and threw it up there because, we talked a lot about the skill guys. We talked about quarterback. We talked about running back. But Charlie White here going in for the winning touchdown against the Buckeyes in the 1979 Rose Bowl. It's not happening without the Brad Buddy and the Anthony Munoz guys up front making those huge holes and making a difference on the offensive line. So this year, we're losing two amazing NFL offensive linemen. You have the heart and soul of any offensive line. You had Neilon down the middle at center. He is going to be greatly missed. And then you also have a talent, strong guy who blows out his knee and then comes in on crutches and puts up the most reps at the combine of anyone. I think offensive line and anyone. That's a hell of a testament to the guys that we're losing. Any thoughts on the guys we're losing, Rick?
Hey, they're both great Trojans. I love Neilon. He really developed into a great center. It was great seeing him progress. Andrew Vorhees, credit to that guy, and it's unfortunate that he did have that injury, but he's a standout character guy. He was not highly recruited. I believe he was a 3-star, and he was developed over time. He didn't have to come back after last year. He did.
Yeah.
And both of those guys are going to be outstanding pros. And I think any NFL team would be lucky to have them. And best of luck to those two guys.
Yeah, without the Neilon nudge, right? We lose that game. We're probably even talking about the conference championship game in Las Vegas. And then speaking of Las Vegas, we knew that we weren't going to have Vorhees for a whole game, and then we lost Neilon at the end of that game, and we saw how that ended up. And then obviously, I know it's sour grapes, but we had neither of these guys in the bowl game against Tulane. I think that might have been a little bit different if we had both these guys in that game. So I like this picture because it has, you have two guys. You have Dedich talking to Neilon, and I think that's going to be the heart and soul of this team. The quarterback of the offensive line, the guy calling out the line play and calling out the blocking. It's going to be huge for him. But Rick, what do you think about the rest of the offensive line?
Well, that is a great picture there, Tim. And that was the number one offensive line recruit was Justin Dedich. The fact that he came back for his 6th COVID year is huge because he's going to be the heart and soul, as Dedich just was the heart and soul of the team for the last 2 years, the offensive line. Now, I'm sorry, as Neilon was, now Dedich is. And so that was huge that Lincoln Riley was able to get him to come back for this his last year. And you've got a lot of great pieces on the offensive line in terms of numbers. I think we were talking previously. There's going to be 18 guys that start a summer. There's 13 right now, but we're missing 4 freshmen, and then also Ethan White, the transfer from Florida, one of the offensive linemen from Florida, is going to be coming in the summer as well. So there'll be 18 guys all fighting for playing time. I think we're going to be able to develop 10, 11 guys, solid guys, rotational guys to keep the line fresh. And then also I love the 5 freshmen we have coming in because those are great development pieces. And I love what our O-line coach, I love what he's all about. He's an amazing guy who can develop players and they really relate. And so offensive line is going to be key. What are you thinking from the offensive line? What to look for this spring and summer there, Tim?
Yeah, Henson bringing one of the greatest things that happened to USC is on Lincoln Riley's staff. Beatembo at Oklahoma was a well-renowned offensive line coach. He, for whatever reason, did not follow Riley to USC. But Riley was able to go out and grab the guy from the SEC, offensive line coach from the Texas A&M Aggies, and bringing Henson in is just an absolute coup for this team. And we're starting to see the benefits of that. Make no mistake, people are looking at how Vorhees came in as a 3-star, and we know he was probably underrated, right? The guy was a late bloomer, but the development under Henson and a number of these other guys, as well as with Dedich, the eyes are all on how these guys are performing. And USC has been putting guys, crazy enough, in first rounds, but it's usually one. When we start to put guys in, they get developed and then they start rolling into the NFL. That's when we're going to start seeing the recruiting pick up again. We know we've lost a couple of guys in the last cycle. It was really kind of a miss, really. We lost guys to Florida State, Miami, and Oregon, but and they were a highly valued recruits, so we wanted to commit. But having Henson there, and every year that they do well, they perform well, and we run the ball. I really do believe, by the way, this year with the running backs that we have and this offensive line with the additions we brought in that we'll talk about in a moment, I think that we're going to really be able to run the ball. We're going to get a good lead, and I think we're going to salt away these games. Bring in Miller Moss and just running and just imposing our will on some teams. So again, that's the favorite thing about offensive linemen is to run the ball. So when they get to pin their ears back and do some run blocking, I'm really looking forward to that. So that with Henson getting guys into the NFL, running the ball a lot more, showing that we're not some, team that's just going to spread the ball and throw it, that are actually going to run the ball, because that's what Riley has done.
Well, and that's what you're going to see. I think this year is going to be a big tell year. And you laid out some of the details there, Tim, is that if you take a look at it, we have lost out on Josh Connerly, Francis Malgoa, and also Lucas Simmons to Florida State. Those are the three big recruits that we did.
I was going to name them. They're dead to me, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But those are three guys, and you can go ahead and make any excuse you want. But I think the key thing is look what happened this year. Okay. You had Caleb Williams transfer, wins the Heisman. And so what do you get in the portal? You get guys that want to come for their last year, maybe have another year, 2 years to block for Caleb Williams. Jarrett Kingston, the offensive guard from Washington State, who is in his last year, basically said that's why he came down to USC, is why wouldn't you want to raise your draft stock? He got hurt in the middle of last year, and why wouldn't you want to block for the Heisman Trophy winner and get some more showcase games? So he's here. Michael Tarquin from Florida, Ethan White from Florida. So you didn't hit on those 5-star offensive line recruits. Okay, well, what can you get in the portal? Yes, it's not the same thing, but these guys are proven guys. And this year, and the success that you build, you develop those 5 offensive line high school signings that you have, as well as your returning players. That gives you momentum during this 2024 cycle to sign some, offensive line high school guys. And all eyes will be on a couple of them that are in the backyard at Modern Day. And just this weekend, actually, speaking of backyard, there was over 20 high school recruits that were visiting. A majority of them were 2024 class, a few 2025 guys. We're not really going to get into detail on that. It's just because it's early, but it's good to see that USC was entertaining 2024 recruits, because obviously recruiting has gotten off to a slow start. But really over the summertime is that when you'll start seeing these recruits making commitments. Between now, and summertime, you'll see some momentum happening. But it's good to. What do you think about the visit this weekend? The visitors that they had. Anybody stand out, or you haven't really given it much thought?
Last year broke my heart, man. And you named off the 3 people. I literally did not want to say their names because recruiting is a really painful thing. So, grown men, living and dying on a little piece of paper that kids are going to send in. It gets rough. I fell for it. I was following recruiting the whole year with guys, and let's say they didn't land any of them. The names I was hearing at this time last year, that watch out for this guy, watch out for this guy. I didn't hear any of those guys pop up. But I'm happy with Banuelos and Page and Lele and Tobias Raymond, man. If you guys remember that name, it might take him a couple of years to fill out, but Tobias Raymond, and Alani know it, but Tobias Raymond, remember that name. He's a Trojan. He's not a potential Trojan. He is an actual Trojan. When he fills out, he's going to be a beast. And bringing in guys like White and Kingston and Tarquin, these guys are going to be able to allow those guys not to be thrown into the mix too early. These guys will have more time in the weight room. Benny Wiley can thicken them up, get them ready, get out there and play. But again, remember the name, Tobias Raymond. I think of this group, we have some studs coming in. Page is a 4-star, and all these guys have size. But I'm really hoping to see this guy turn something special. As far as current offensive linemen right now, I don't really have much to say on that. Talk to me again in the fall when we get closer towards that December signing day.